All right, guys, welcome back. So we are at this point. We are gonna get ready to go up the westbound ascent. So there's a small chain up area. Pull over real quick. This is not a parking area, so don't stop and have your sandwich here ever. But I want to just get out, check brakes, check tires, check everything. That's something that you can use this spot for. Now we're going to get up and get going. So at this point, there will just be some driving. We'll be talking. We'll be looking at temperatures. Not really going to be watching fuel economy and stuff like that. That's something we're going to talk about in the final video. But nonetheless, we're going to get going here. At no point have I felt like the truck itself was lagging or having any issues maintaining power, control, and stuff like that. But we will have a final thoughts video here shortly when it comes to that and everything like that. So we all know the Ike Gauntlet has both sides, up and down, west and east, and so this is the westbound side. I don't think a lot of times people video this one or do this one just because it's not really relevant. But right now it's showing the speed set at 65. So we're going to get up there. Obviously, we can see a sign right there saying over 26,000. Gross vehicle weight rating, must use right lane. So that is everybody that is meeting that criteria, not just truckers or CMV. So keep that in mind when you're going through states. Most of these signs are going to be kind of across the United States, are kind of all the same. So when it says that, unless it says CMV directly on the sign, if you're over that weight, you need to follow those rules, okay, guys? So this is a little bit of a jog. Again, we talked about the Eisenhower Tunnel is at 11,158 feet above sea level, and we came from Denver, which is at 5,280. So the truck itself has been climbing since it's left Denver. So again, we'll talk about average temps, but currently 217 going westbound. So unfortunately, coming eastbound out of the tunnel, the road is a piece of trash. I won't be doing the speed limit just because of how bad it is, rutted up from the heavy trucks that come through here. And I've seen too many people, accidents and stuff, because again, I drive this every day. Accidents where people just come out of there and they're not prepared for that, especially conventional tow campers and trailers versus fifth wheels. They have a little bit more stability. They get that whip going, and it ends up badly for them all. So we are going to, again, just leave it set in there. And guys, if you haven't already subscribed, go ahead and subscribe, because this has a multi-series kind of beginning setup, how we're doing this and how we're testing it and why. So there's a lot of great parts, so you can go back. I broke them up in smaller videos instead of one long one, so you don't have to try and find the right place. You can just actually go, oh, I wanted to see how it did westbound ascent and eastbound descent, vice versa, whatever. So yeah, so I'm going to basically set it about 60, because what's going to happen here shortly is I'm going to come up on trucks and trailers and everything like that, and all these yahoos that are wanting to pass me doing 70 or 80 in that lane, it's just going to constantly make me speed up and slow down. So I'm going to use cruise control going up and also going down to see how we mitigate that and how brake temps are running. So one thing people were kind of concerned about was the fact I'm not limiting those gears. I won't limit those gears until I feel like the truck absolutely has to have that done, because I want, Ford made it this way. Just like my automated truck has a 12-speed Eaton in it, it'll get to that gear whenever it wants to, but it's not going to go to it if it'll damage it, or if I have it limited using cruise control and engine brake, whatnot. But don't worry about that. But you can see it hasn't gotten to even 8th gear since I entered the mountain climb or descents. It just hasn't. It's done very, very good, mitigating speed up and down. So I'm not concerned about that. Okay. I'm also not worried about that transmission temp, but we'll have that up on the Chevy also, so we can see how that goes. So in true form, guys, this little Prius had to pass me and then gets in front of me and slows down. So this is the reason why I just set my cruise at 60, because about 5 mile an hour under, and I do this in my semi a lot. Well, actually my semi, if I was loaded, I'm probably going up this at like 35 or 40. But at the end of the day, I try and stay just under, because again, at the end of the day, the slow and steady, the rapid, they all get to the same end of the race, no matter what. And for 5-10 miles, you know, that 5 mile an hour is not going to directly affect you any. But what it's going to do is save your truck and brakes from constantly grabbing the brakes and everything like that. Keep in mind, every time you grab your brakes in your truck while you're towing your trailer, you're activating your trailer brakes too, to some extent, and those trailer brakes are just not robust. I mean, they're there, but they're not crazy good, guys. I mean, they're not made like a heavy duty, heavy haul gooseneck trailer that has, you know, 2 sets of duals back there. Those brakes are good, but on just your normal everyday trailer that every person's buying out there, even like a horse trailer, let's just spend $100 grand on it. They're there to assist for sure, but they're not going to be there to be just constantly doing it. And heat is the destroyer of brakes. So the more you can limit the heat buildup in those brakes, the better you're going to fare across the board. So again, I just set it and forget it, and that little Prius was just kind of like one of those things that's the reason why I have no qualms that this truck would go up this hill right now at 70 if I wanted it to. But I'm going to be constantly yo-yoing with other drivers, and I'm just not interested in it. Just a pretty little shot of the scenery here, guys. Again, transmission temps. Transmission temps are actually higher in the Battle for the Plains Beast in the East series. So, because interesting enough, that one was constantly going up hundreds of hills, and they were pretty dang steep. So they were working pretty good. Granted, the outside temp was 68, I think, and we're at 44. So I guess we're getting a little bit of environmental cooling here. But yeah, I mean, at no point has the truck reached 5,000 RPMs. It stayed right about the 4,000 or less. Transmission's doing what it needs to do. Again, pretty soon we're going to be getting up to here where it gets even steeper, and we're going to have to slow down, because you're going to get the Yahoos in the left lane. See the little Prius up there? He's in front of the, you got to look well. The Prius is actually blocking the fast lane. Gotta love it. So this is where it's going to happen, is we're going to get behind all these trucks. They're slowing down, and this is just the way it works out there, the law of the land. And you get some Yahoo that's not passing but wants to be in the fast lane, and it's going to slow everybody down. But again, it's about, can the truck get the job done? And, you know, can it go up to 60? Yeah, I'm sure it can. Is it going to work it harder? Yep. Fuel economy is going to drop? Yep. But at the end of the day, the real world is this. You know, Joe Schmo is blocking the fast lane, and, you know, the heavy haul guys like me, usually I'm in the right lane, just tugging up the hill, just trying to get there at my 30 mile an hour. And, you know, so it's really not a big deal. And actually, the Zilla's roaring. We actually got a little window to pass this big herd of trucks and cars that were kind of dogging it. So not usually something that I'm going to be doing when I'm pulling. My fifth wheel, I usually fall in line, but, you know, I'm not going to lose momentum. And I think that's one misconception a lot of people do when they do the Ike Gauntlet. They start at the base of the Silverthorne ramp and then just pound it. Well, you know, turbos take some exhaust to, you know, gas to get the turbo spool and stuff like that. You know, and the, you know, same thing. Usually if you're going to be towing, you're going to be coming out of Frisco. Silverthorne is a pain in the butt if you have a trailer to get in there and get gas. So if you're watching this video, don't really try and get in there. Stop in Frisco if you're going up eastbound, because there's a couple big fuel stops there that are a lot easier to get into. So you know, Silverthorne's a little bit older, the fuel stops are a little older, so really you're going to have some momentum going up that to just better your route, I guess, if you will, your chances of cruising up the hill. So nonetheless, we are still working up there. Our temps are just fine when it comes to engine temp, transmission temp. There we got close to 5, but not all the way though. So we're still doing good. We're still maintaining our speed, other than I actually had to slow down one time for that herd. All right, guys, so here we are. We are almost into the westbound ascent into the tunnel. So here it says we're actually gonna tap the throttle. We have to bring the general down a notch. All right. So we're going to bring it down to 50 because that's what it's saying the speed limit is. And sometimes when I talk about the speed limits, people are like, oh, it's 60, it's 50. Listen, a lot of those are variable, so they'll change them based on whatever they want to do. So there's no hard and fast speed limit sign up here, I guess, in the mountains. They have a lot of those that variably will adjust themselves. So, you know, just keep in mind, I'm used to doing 35 in a semi. So, all right, guys. So there is the Eisenhower Ascent westbound. We got no crazy temperatures, nothing like that. We are going to see on the next one doing the descent. That video is going to be a little bit shorter because it's only like a 8-mile run into there. But there's some ice here in the tunnel. We can see the speed limit there's 50. So we're just going to back off because people are just jamming on their brakes and everything. But we'll see you on the next one.